Welcome to Inside Shakeology, your destination for news, updates, and information. I'm Sandy Buadana from Team Beachbody.
And I am Darin Olien, the formulator and co-creator of Shakeology, and we are here to answer a bunch of questions.
And today in the house, we have the creator of 22-Minute Hardcore and everything P90X, Mr. Tony Horton.
Hey kids, what's happening? Darin, boom,
Hey.
everybody at home, excited. This is going to be some fun.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So we are in a summit theme of stronger every day, even on the road. And I know many of you out there are going to be traveling to Nashville for Summit. You guys are going to Nashville, right?
I'll be
yeah.
there.
We'll
Okay,
be there.
I will be
Indeed.
there too. And if you're not going to Nashville and you're just traveling, you might want to know how to prep your food when you are traveling. So let me ask you guys, how do you handle the food prep while traveling?
Well, I think, food prep is integrated in lifestyle already. And of course, when you're traveling, it takes a little more effort. And, for me, my supplements is, of course, easy packets of Shakeology. And then I have a bunch of boosts and anything else I need so I control that. Because, you always get stuck with, hey, you can't get a meal or whatever. And at least having a shaker cup and the boosts and the Shakeology is also perfect. And then I always count out how many days, right? So how many days, and so I count the packets. And then, before getting on planes, it's really about making that meal, like making the meal that you can take on the plane, certainly if it's a long plane ride. For me, just really have a huge salad and stuff it in. I don't even care what it looks like at that point, as long as it's good.
Right.
And then nuts and seeds and stuff like that. So that's kind of my attack.
Very cool.
I'm not that different, really. My wife is a phenomenal cook, so she'll make something for me in the morning or, some eggs or something. So the idea here for me when I travel, especially long flights all the way to the East Coast, we're on the West Coast, is to get a healthy breakfast in so you get to the airport full. And then, I have this special little carrier that insulates the food with little plastic containers where I put all my nuts in and blueberries, and then maybe some little, I like burritos, like, whole wheat burritos. That way I don't have to mess with things that, napkins and things, whatever. So something that's
Little
not too
wraps.
messy, something self-contained.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, even in first class, you don't know what you're going to get as far as a meal. So that's really important. Also, same thing with the supplements. I've got my packets in there. I usually take one Shakeology with me. I've got this great bag that I carry with, so you can even put a small shaker bottle in there.
Nice.
So, I just ask the flight attendant for some water, and I'm good to go.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not flying, but I do have a family of 5, 3 kids, and we do a lot of road trips.
Oh, yeah.
And the first thing we do is fill the ice chest with snacks. And we try very hard not to do the unhealthy snacks of chips and all that stuff. But when you're driving for a long time, you need something fast, convenient. So we cut up fruit. We put it in little containers. We put ice in there, lots of water. But we do have to plan ahead because everybody has a different palate, and we don't know when we get to where we're going what's going to be there. So we pack for a couple days so that once we get there, we at least are covered.
Perfect. Right on.
Wise information here.
Preparation's
across the board.
key.
That's
Grab
it.
some good stuff.
Prepping.
So
Important. People,
pre-pack.
do it.
Pre-planning is a good idea. So we know that eating healthy while traveling can be challenging. So what do you do when there's restaurants? How do you do that when you're traveling? How do you eat healthy?
Yeah, I mean, it is tricky. I think restaurants are, obviously asking locals, right? If you're in a big city, you ask them. If, sometimes I'm in the middle of nowhere and you still ask, so you have to make sure that you're asking credible people and get a lot of opinions on that, and then you show up. But I think it's also important to ask when you're at the restaurant. At least I look for indicators, right? So if I look at the salads, I'm like, okay, well, this is a pretty decent salad. I'll have them keep off for me. I'll have them keep up the cheese and maybe see if they have olive oil or whatever. But you modify, and don't be afraid of getting, modifying what they have. And then, every morning, certainly when I'm traveling and intense traveling, every morning I know I prepare the Shakeology and I boost it and Shakeology and all that stuff. So I know at least I'm getting that.
You have your routine.
Exactly. And sometimes in the middle of nowhere, there is no restaurant and we're snacking on nuts and seeds. And then there's been many a times where I've had to just hit Shakeology again at night because there's just not an option. So
you don't leave home without it.
definitely not.
Yeah, that's great advice, Darin. I mean, here's the thing. If you're going to go out during the day, like I was just in New York City a while back and with my wife, and I have a little day pack, right? I have wallet in there, and I have extra cash in there, and I have my Shakeology packet in
It's like
there.
emergency pack, yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. So because you don't know where you're going to
like
be,
first aid.
and you walk into some place and you're starving to death, and there's a 45-minute wait because you didn't make a reservation. Right? So
True.
I'm there, I got my nutrition. What about you?
Yeah.
You're the one
yeah.
starving to death looking for candy bars. So
Exactly.
that's really important. But the one expression that means a lot to me is ask for what you need, because you said it, you touched upon it. But walk into that restaurant knowing that you've got to eat fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats, whether it be paleo or vegan or flexitarian or whatever it is. And don't assume that whatever you see on the menu is something that you have to have.
Exactly.
Because sometimes you're hunting for the healthiest thing, but then you see kale there, and you see brown rice there, and you see chicken there, but they're not on the same plate. So you say to the waiter, and I'm a goofy dude anyway, so I try to make it fun. I say, hey, look, you know what? I know that your service has a lot of reflection on your tip, my friend. So I'm going to treat you right if you treat me right.
Perfect.
I can't eat a lot of these things. Can you merge these things together?
Exactly.
And 9 times out of 10 they'll do it for you, and the
Big
other
time.
times they don't. Well, then maybe it's time to have a
So I should go
party
out
in
with
your
you.
mouth,
Because when I should go out with you, because when I say, "Can you put the dressing on the side?" or not dressing at all, and my husband will just say, "Man, you're picky," and it's like I just want what I want.
Yeah, you want what you
Exactly.
want.
And-
And that's okay. I think that's okay. You can do that at McDonald's. You can do that at a 5-star restaurant. You can do it anywhere.
Exactly.
It's just having a purpose that is so strong and understanding that every morsel matters.
Absolutely.
And when you're on the go and you don't have those options and you don't have a Shakeology packet with you, you blew it. So next time you'll do it.
Exactly. And I think that's a big point, though. I mean, the social,
The stigma.
yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
like your family or friends, and they think you're picky, but it's like, listen, if you're convicted to yourself and your
right.
health, then it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
let them say whatever they want, but at the end of the day, you're taking care of yourself,
Yeah.
and at least you're doing that with a little adversity, and that's a good thing to
It's
do.
not picky to be picky. It's picky to be healthy.
Exactly.
Picky, it's all semantics, It's just asking for what you want and what's
Big time.
important to you, because I used to be somebody who would just think, oh, there's nothing here, and then I would just end up getting something horrible and then feeling terrible later and not being able to sleep well, waking up with dry eyes. I don't know what it was,
Exactly.
but now I just make sure that and it's teaching people to get into that rhythm of actually communicating with your waiter or waitress. They're there to help you. They want a decent tip. And so if you make it fun and light, and if your friends at the table give you a hard time, and you just say, well, I don't know, but it seems to be working.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So when you're traveling, how do you incorporate Shakeology boosts?
Well, I'm America's Boostaholic. I'm the biggest fan of Boosts, man. I love them, and I'll do all 3 in the morning first thing. Boom,
Wow.
and I'll put it in a regular. I'll put it in my Shakeology. I'll put it in a regular protein shake, and sometimes I'll just put Boosts in water. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand what's in them. I understand the quality. I understand how important it is for me. Just in general, when it comes to my nutrition and my health. So, I have little packets, little plastic containers that Beachbody has too. We have them online. And I just put them in there and throw them in my bag. And what I like to do is, in case, somebody at the airport's, treating my luggage, horribly, I'll take the containers.
Yeah.
I'll put the boosts in the containers. This is important, so write this down. And then I'll put them in a Ziploc container in case something, busts open.
Absolutely,
So, like we were saying earlier, it's tricky out there. There's some parts of the country you can't find healthy food. It doesn't exist.
Right.
So if you've got your boost with you, you've got your Shakeology with you. Hopefully, where you are has water, and chances are it will, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. And you?
Well,
with boosts?
yeah, I mean, boosts have been something that I've definitely wanted because I've been doing it essentially for 20 years, right? So boosting myself with herbs and medicinal plants and stuff. And now that we've got them, it's so easy. And for me, I'll kind of, depending on where I'm going or what I'm doing, I'll even kind of combine the boosts before I leave, and I'll make little alchemies with them and mix them
You're a
up so
little
they're
scientist.
so they're really easy to use, and I'll just dump them. And sometimes I do. I'll just boost themselves, and then of course in the morning I'll boost all of them usually. But those things are wonderful because when you're traveling, you're naturally stressed out more. Your body's going through more. I think whenever you're going through something, and certainly traveling, boosting is almost more important because you can't control your food as much. You can't control your environment. It's harder to mitigate the stress. A perfect time to get really important nutrients.
Well, when I travel with 3 kids, it is stressful. So
Yeah.
even though it's a vacation, it can be stressful, and you need an energy boost.
That's just the best. I mean, with the adaptogens in there and the cordyceps and the mushrooms and then the guarana and the little energy. I mean, that's an alchemy that I've been wanting to get out in the world for a very long time. And I smile every time I see that thing. And it's easy to use and it's fantastic. So those are a must while traveling for sure.
You know, the argument I hear a lot too is, do you really need the boost? I thought Shakeology was perfect. And people don't understand that, situations change. So even something that is so nutritious as Shakeology, air travel, right? You're at 8,000 feet, the air pressure is bad, time changes, the stress just from being at the airport and getting your luggage, and then maybe you got a work thing going on. So you're spot on. Your regular diet's not going to give it to you. And Shakeology is there. It's for you. It's awesome. But you need nuances. You need little things to help you kind of get through your whatever, be a 2-day trip or a whole week.
Exactly.
So
Well,
I think it's important.
we're all individuals, right? So it's like we're dealing with all
I thought we
kinds-
were the same, you and me,
I
man.
know.
I thought I was that handsome. I really did. That's crazy.
So I know a lot of people think that when I'm on vacation, it's okay to cheat with my nutrition, but I'm sure you guys have a different opinion about that.
I think you'd be surprised.
Okay?
When I was in New York, I had pizza. I hadn't had pizza in months. I had chocolate mousse. Ridiculous. I treated myself. I worked out every day, though. I didn't miss a workout, not one, and I pushed really hard. But I think in general, that's probably not a good plan. I mean, that's why Shakeology's there, because it kind of breaks that pattern. Maybe some people are 365ers. I use it as the perfect between lunch and dinner snack. That's my Shakeology time, right? So, but when it comes to cheating, one size does not fit all. It really depends on the individual. You got ectomorphs, mesomorphs, endomorphs, different body types, different cultures. People are anaerobic athletes. Some are aerobic athletes. There's just so many nuances in it. But, I had a conversation with Jack LaLanne's wife yesterday, and we talked about Jack and how he...
Elaine
LaLanne, which is crazy. I love that.
I love that name.
And her and her son, John, were on the phone with me. I'm getting the Jack LaLanne Award this year, which is completely cool.
wow.
So
Oh, wow.
I was
Awesome.
I get goosebumps when I think about it. Just talking about her and Jack and his start. He was a sickly kid. So was I. He was a sugar addict. So was I. But when he made those dietary changes, when he cut out that sugar, he was a better person. So, my feeling is, the cleaner it is, the better it is, the more nutritious it is, the more you add Shakeology and the boost, and you really, make this thing a 24/7, 365 affair with little cheats here and there, depending on maybe on the trip or whatever it is.
That makes sense.
I think a lot of people, the reason why they gain and lose back and forth and up and down is because they turn this diet thing into a religion. It has to be paleo. It has to be vegan. It has to be
gets crazy.
something, and they get a little bit too militant about it.
Yep.
And they get and the food thing causes a lot of stress. And so maybe they'll be disciplined for whatever, maybe 2 months, and then the wheels fall off because, who knows, they had a fight with a girlfriend or something. I mean, it could be a myriad of things.
But it's
or they had
also
a
the
car
concept
accident.
of the diet. I mean, if you think of it as a diet and instead of a lifestyle, then you're thinking I'm cheating on my diet. Unless that this is just the way I live. I enjoy life. I enjoy food, and I enjoy eating clean, and I also enjoy sweets. But we shouldn't look at it as
I
cheating.
mean, I cut out sweets, 95% of my sweets about a year ago. And I could be here for half an hour telling you how many things have changed for me. My skin is cleared up. My eyes cleared up. I sleep better. I have more energy through workouts. I recover better. In combination with the supplements that we're talking about.
When I'm traveling, it's one thing. Like, I actually get more strict because it's such a stressful thing. And when I'm on vacation, I'm usually choosing places that are adapted already to my lifestyle. For me, there's no downside to the health, but the upside of feels like I'm cheating because it's so amazing. So for me, the celebratory aspect of food and still synergistic with my health.
I think what's great for people looking in is to see that you and I don't do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not like you and your friend or your wife or your husband or your kids should do the exact same thing.
Exactly.
But give it nuance,
Yeah.
I mean, I tried it when most of the time, I'm 90 to 90% super clean.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't bought bread in a year.
Right.
But when I'm in New York City and I sit down at an Italian restaurant and I'm hungry and I look down at that fresh baked bread. I have a little head game that I play. I look at it for a bit. I look at my wife and I went, well, that's going to go here with some butter on top, and I'll worry about it tomorrow when I do 24 sets of chest and back, baby.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. But I think that's a big point, because I think when people do that stuff and they cheat, allowing themselves to like fully embrace the cheat without the judgment and just
Instead of
know
beating yourself
tomorrow,
up. Yeah.
hey, I'm going to be right back
on
into
track.
the gym. I'm going to be watching the tapes. I'm going to be eating clean, and it's all great. But enjoy that moment if you're choosing it. But don't get into the, I'm doing it, I'm just like, I'm off anyway. And then that's a completely different.
And I love, I
trip.
just showed how old we both are doing the tapes. I love that.
Is that what I said?
VOD members, Google it. It used to be on tapes. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Tony, for joining us on Inside Shakeology.
Thank you,
Sandy,
Tony.
Darin, rock
A
on,
pleasure.
man. That was a
great.
blast today.
Good to hang
I'd
out.
love to come back.
Absolutely.
All right. Awesome.
For other Shakeology topics, you can check out Inside Shakeology audio podcast on iTunes.
And for all things Shakeology, make sure you subscribe to the Shakeology YouTube channel. And if you have any questions or topics that you'd like us to cover in the future, go ahead and send an email to shakeologypanel@beachbody.com.